Boys. So this is another video, and I'm going to be reading chapters 8 and 9 to you. Most of you have already done the questions for chapter 8, and I will be sending out the questions for chapter 9 on Sunday. So chapter 8 is titled Lady Marian and the Sheriff of Nottingham, and chapter 9 is the Sheriff's Visit. Every year in summer, Marian's father had a great party. Lords and ladies and the people from the villages came. They ate and drank. This year, the Sheriff of Nottingham came too, with 50 of his men. He watched Marian carefully. "She is very beautiful," he thought, "and Robin Hood loves her. I know he will come today. Then my men can catch him." The music started, and the people began to dance. A man went to Marian and spoke to her. She smiled and gave him her hand. The sheriff stood up quick and called loudly to his men. "That's him! That's Robin Hood! Take him!" This is a picture of when Little John was giving the money to the abbot, okay? The 5 extra bags of gold. The sheriff's men took out their swords and moved through the dancers. Suddenly, 10 of the dancers ran for their swords too. They were, of course, Robin's men, and a great fight began. Robin's men were better fighters than the sheriff's. Marian wanted to fight too, but her father stopped her. "Marian, what are you doing? Put down that sword. I am sorry about Robin. No other man will marry you. You are only interested in fighting." The sheriff heard Marian's father and smiled. "Lady Marian is very lovely," he thought. "Her father wants to find another husband for her. Good. I will marry her. Then she will help me find Robin Hood." Chapter 9. The Sheriff's Visit. The next day, the sheriff arrived at Lord Fitzwalter's house with 20 horsemen. Lord Fitzwalter watched them through a window. He was not happy. "He wants to talk about yesterday's fight," he said to his daughter, "and you nearly fought too. Please go to your room. I will speak to him." "I do not want to speak to the sheriff, father," said Marian, "but I will listen behind the door." Marian left the room, and a minute later the sheriff walked in. "My Lord Sheriff," began Lord Fitzwalter, "I am sorry about the fight yesterday, but your men—" "No, no, no, I do not want to talk about that," said the sheriff. He put his hand on Lord Fitzwalter's arm and smiled. "I want to speak to you about your daughter, the Lady Marian." "Ah, Marian," said Lord Fitzwalter unhappily. "Marian is a good girl, but she does not always listen to me. Perhaps one day a husband will—" "Ah, yes," said the sheriff and smiled. "Well, I am looking for a wife, and I would like to marry your daughter. I like a strong woman, and Marian is also very beautiful. I will be a good husband, and I have lands, money, and important friends." "My lord, what can I say?" said Marian's father. He was now very unhappy. Marian wanted to marry Robin Hood, and no other man. He knew that. "You are very kind. I will talk to Marian, but—" "I will come back tomorrow," said the sheriff. "Remember, Prince John is my very good friend. He can be your friend too. Think carefully." That evening, Marian and her father talked for a long time about Robin, the sheriff, and Prince John. "Marian, why don't you marry the sheriff?" said her father. "He is rich and important, and he is a friend of Prince John. I am afraid of the prince. Please marry the sheriff, and forget Robin Fitzooth." Marian took her father's hand. "Father, I am sorry to bring you so many problems. I will not marry the sheriff, but he will be angry with me, not you. Listen, tomorrow I will leave the house very early and stay with my uncle. The sheriff will come late in the morning. Tell your men to look for me, look in every room, be very angry. Then the sheriff will think that you know nothing." "You are right, Marian," said her father. "You will have to marry the sheriff or leave here. Go then to my brother's house. But who will go with you?" "Good Friar Tuck is staying here tonight," answered Marian. "He will help me." "That fat churchman?" said her father. Boys, a friar is somebody who works in the church. He's kind of like the abbot. He's like almost like an imam of the masjid or somebody there who can help Christian people with their prayers. He is a strange friar. He fights too well for a churchman. People say that the abbot of St. Mary's hates him. The friar had to leave the abbey. So there's an issue between the abbot, the greedy abbot that we saw before, and this man, Friar Tuck. Friar Tuck does not like the abbot because the abbot takes a lot of money from the villagers, answered Marian. Friar Tuck says that the church has to help poor people. Hmm, said her father. The abbot does live very well. He is a greedy man. Friar Tuck is greedy too. He eats more than 10 men, but he is a brave man and very strong. Yes, take Friar Tuck with you. So Marian is running away to her uncle's house, and the sheriff will be coming tomorrow to find out what her father's answer is about getting married to Marian. So let's see what happens.